Is the answer still always Miata? You know what? We're gonna find out on track. The Miata is very much, and has always been, more than the sum of its parts. And I want you to keep that in mind as we go over some of the objective data that we gathered from our track test of the latest Club edition of the Mazda MX-5. The 2024 Mazda MX-5 carries over the same 181 horsepower 2-liter Skyactiv engine that the last few years of Miatas have had under the hood, has a 6-speed manual transmission, driving a Torsen-style gear-driven limited slip differential in the rear. Now the Club package adds Bilstein shocks, just as its essential basic performance upgrade over the base model, and it also adds some nice interior features like the Bose stereo, full touchscreen compatibility on the driver information center, and a few other comfort and convenience items. But opting for the Club package also allows you to order an additional package, which is the Brembo BBS Recaro package. It's a $4,800 package that adds larger Brembo calipers in the front, along with a set of Brembo rotors, although they are the exact same 11-inch diameter that the base model rotors are. Also adds a set of 17 by 7-inch BBS wheels and a fantastic set of Recaro seats inside. Now, this package on top of the Club is going to bring this car to $39,065, which is a lot for an MX-5. These cars are so much more than the sum of their parts, and I think that really sort of applies when we're talking about the price as well. Look, average price of a new car here in the year of our Lord 2024 has crept over $40,000. It's up somewhere close to $45,000 last time I checked. That's a lot of money objectively to a guy like me, but in the grand pantheon of the price of cars, it's still a fairly good price for what you're getting. And what you're getting is not really available anywhere else in this form factor, this open roadster, lightweight, nimble sports car. This is the sports car that sort of changed things back in 1989 when it was introduced as a 1990 model. That was a sea change in the world of cars. It brought back the lightweight, fun roadster very much by design, and it has continued on to this day through now 4 amazing generations of cars. So I talked a little bit about the seats earlier. I was actually very comfortable saying that the Recaros in this ND series Miata, this Club with the additional package, are the best seats that have ever been put in a Miata and put you in the best stock driving position of any Miata. Now I understand seats are a very personal thing. I'm certainly not shaped like everybody else in the world, but these are fantastic seats, and it makes you look at the $4,800 package of the upgrade a little bit differently when you do try them out. Now, if you add up the individual elements in this package, that $4,800, it's a little bit steep. When you look at something like the additional brake package and the additional performance packages on something like the Subaru BRZ TS, for example, it's a couple $1,000s cheaper. You look at the prices of the individual pieces, and on the Subaru side, anyway, you kind of think, you know, I can maybe duplicate that from the aftermarket just as well. On the Miata side, maybe this pricing is a little bit aggressive for what you get. You're only getting a front brake upgrade. You're not getting any rotor diameter upgrade. The base Club package comes with the Bilstein shocks, and the wheels and the seats are certainly an upgrade. The wheels may be an upgrade in name, not performance. The seats certainly an upgrade in both. But there's a lot of math to be done on whether or not this upgrade works out for you. Now, if you talk to a lot of folks in the community, they will say that you can spend $4,800 on this upgrade package. You can sell those wheels anywhere online for over $2,000. And all of a sudden that starts looking pretty reasonable, because you can go to another great place like Tire Rack and spend that $2,000 on a set of wheels and track tires that'll probably be lighter and stronger than the BBSs that are coming on this Miata. So let's talk about the numbers. Let's talk about the actual track performance of this MX-5. So the first thing I want to say before we even get into the V-Box data is this is an enormously friendly car. I mentioned before that it does take a little bit of time to take a set. It does roll quite a bit. You'll probably see that in the videos. But the car actually does have quite a bit of body roll. So it's not a super fast reacting car, but it's a very predictably reacting car, and it's got fantastic feel through the wheel, through the chassis, even through the pedals. Very easy car to trail brake, very easy car to point into a corner. Again, not quickly, not you know, super aggressively, but very predictably. And if you take your time, if you sort of fingertip things a little bit, you get just fantastic reaction from this chassis. Now, this car ships with a set of 205mm wide all-season tires. They are not the grippiest tires in the world. A tire upgrade is going to be absolutely substantial on this basic chassis. It's a fantastic basic chassis. Great raw lump of clay to do whatever you want to do from. But again, does suffer from being delivered with some less aggressive pieces than maybe some of its market competitors. So let's take a look at the actual V-Box data here and see where this thing stacked up on track. As we dive into the V-Box data here, we've got our MX-5 queued up in Circuit Tools. First place your eye probably went was the lap time. That is a 1:25.77, and that places it solidly mid-pack with a lot of other performance cars that we have tested over the years. Now, I said before that the MX-5 is sort of more than the sum of its parts, and it's not really keeping up on track in this configuration with some of its competitors, but let's see what the particulars actually look like. So first thing I do is I'll look at the entirety of the data trace here, and I look for stuff like sharp braking peaks. Most of them are pretty good. Some of them, like this one right here going into turn 5, maybe not as sharp as I'd like to see, but I think that's more reflective of the time that it takes for the MX-5 chassis to take a set, both laterally and longitudinally. When you hit those brakes, there is a little bit of a lag while that sort of softly sprung car gets the weight on the nose and starts initiating its hardest braking. But let's bring up some comparison here. Now we've got the Subaru BRZ TS that we tested recently. Actually, if you want to see the whole track test on that, we'll throw a link up somewhere, up here, down there. It's in there. It's a fantastic car as well, and a mortal enemy, of course, of the MX-5. So as we bring this up, we'll note that the fastest data trace on Circuit Tools is always showing up in red, so our MX-5 is now switched to blue, and we can see where the 122.8 second run of the BRZ is gapping the 125.7 second run of the MX-5. And the first thing we see is that a lot of this is happening due to power. Now, 181 horsepower in the Miata is giving up over 50 horsepower to the underrated BRZ, and we can see that very evident in acceleration curves like this, where maybe coming out of a slow corner, they are even through the early parts of third gear, but as soon as you're winding up past that 4,000 RPM torque peak of the Miata, that BRZ is just running away. We can see this in all of our acceleration zones. A lot more area under the acceleration curve here for the BRZ. In all of our acceleration zones, we see this this Boxer Subaru just pulling away from the MX-5, and that's kind of the story of this lap. We'll bring up our delta here, and we'll see that we'll see where our plateaus are, and we've got some flat areas. Yeah, right at the exit of slower corners, we see the MX-5 picking up a little bit of time right here in the slowest corner, in the hairpin. So You know, good handling from the MX-5. Another plateau here through the middle and end part of turn 8. But other than that, we see that the thrust, anytime these cars are on the gas, this delta line is climbing. That shows us where the Subaru is picking up time on the Miata, and it is mostly a matter of horsepower. Now, one interesting separation here in turn 8, we see this curve here as the cars go through turn 8. Now, turn 8 at the firm, on paper, you know, maybe looks like it might be parabolic. It is very much not. It's actually sort of parabolic in the middle and has a pinched entry and a pinched exit. Also there are a lot of undulations and road camber changes through the corner. So what that means is we get this sort of W shape through the corner where the speed drops on entry because the entry is a little bit pinched. The middle opens up, so our speed through the middle part of the corner increases, and then the exit pinches because we see the speed drop a little bit at the exit before we're starting to accelerate out. Now, I can typically judge sort of how good a car is just by looking at the severity of that W shape through there. If it drops dramatically on entrance, comes way back up in the middle, and then drops again on exit, I'm telling you that's probably a car that's got pretty good power, pretty good torque, not great handling. But this sort of flat W that we're seeing for both of these cars is indicative of a car with excellent entry speed, excellent entry control into a corner, and really good drivability through a corner. So we do see that the BRZ a little bit faster on that entry. Both cars excellent through the mid part, both cars excellent through the end part. Little bit of a nod to the Subaru there in the beginning. I'm gonna sort of chalk that up to just day and date conditions of the track, because the trail braking on this MX-5 was every bit as good to my foot and to my inner ear as that Subaru was. So we're also maybe seeing just a little bit of a slight advantage in braking in this final braking initiation right here. We see obviously the Subaru, more power. We can see our ultimate speed difference, 105.48 miles an hour versus 97 for the Miata. So we're seeing more speed going in there, but we're also seeing this deceleration rate a little, just fractionally steeper on the BRZ than on the MX-5. And that might be a result of a little bit less thermal capacity in the MX-5 with 11-inch brakes versus, what, 12.8-inch rotors on the front of that BRZ. So we're seeing a little more capacity out of the BRZ there maybe. And again, that sort of extra time that the MX-5 is taking to take that ultimate set, both in cornering and in braking. But, you know, again, I'm not seeing anything I didn't expect on this curve from the Miata. It's an excellent handling car. We're seeing that in all of the complex turn-in zones. Like we're seeing it into turn 10 here, where it's easily the equal of the BRZ, where you're doing a lot of trail braking to get the car pointed. We're seeing excellent trail braking again here in turn 8, and overall, we're seeing the curve that I expected. We're seeing a lower horsepower car than some of its competitors, but also a fantastic handling car and a fantastically drivable car whose performance is accessible by a very broad range of drivers. So the conclusion here ultimately is that it's a Miata. It is everything you've ever loved about every generation of Miatas for 2024. Fantastic handling, benign, easy to access every level of performance in this car, augmented with better than base brakes, certainly, maybe not as good as they could be. An amazing seat. Seriously, folks, one of the best places that I've ever sat in a stock Miata to do the business of driving. Great grip, excellent position, and just a great all-around seat. And the friendly, accessible nature that we've come to associate with this car. I mean, you can put the top up and down from the driver's seat. You don't ever have to get out. All you've got to do is throw your arm back, put the thing up, one hand, barely any leaning, barely any fuss, and that's the Miata story. It just does what you ask it. It's got a smile on its face. You look at the front of the car, it's a friend. It's your buddy. It wants to go do fun stuff. It's a Miata. I mean, come on. What more do you want? Hey folks, if you like the stuff we are doing here on YouTube, you can check out the entire world of Grassroots Motorsports at grassrootsmotorsports.com. You'll have access to all of the stories from the print magazine with a subscription to GRM Plus, only $3 a month. You'll have the ability to chat with other folks like yourselves on our message board, and even members of the staff hang out there every day, and you'll have access to great merch like this shirt right here at grassrootsmotorsports.com. If you like this video too, we would really truly appreciate a like, and we'd really even more appreciate subscribing to our channel. It's free, and you will get first crack at all of the content we post here on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. We cannot wait to see you next time at the track.
Support brands who support Grassroots Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. To learn more, visit crcindustries.com. Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.